in a minute. But I think, as I said, I see Al, Brent, and Jonathan on the line right now from our agency volunteer leaders. So you can push record. I'll tee it up, and then Jason, I'm going to hand it over to you real quickly to tee up the conversation around, mobile apps.
Okay.
So Shauna, tell me when we're ready.
We're ready.
Okay, sounds great. Well, thank you all for joining us for another session to talk about mobile apps today with our Agency Technology Roundtable. We're excited to have several of our agent volunteer leaders, our agent thought leaders on technology join us today for this conversation on mobile apps in the marketplace and the value that they provide to agents. We're going to have 3 different live demos that my partner, Jason Walker, who, as you all know, is with us from Agency InsurTech. He works with OIA and provides technology advising solutions for agencies that are looking to help, build upon their technology strategy and their roadmap. And so we're excited again to be joined with several of these members of the OIA. Jonathan Theaters, I know, is on the line, as is Brent Soller, Al Thomas, and Kurt Trimble from different agencies across the great state of Ohio. So thank you guys for joining us. Looking forward to a vibrant, engaging conversation. It'll be myself and Jason Walker from the OIA steering this conversation. So with that, Jason, let's jump right into the content. No need for any more intro. You tee this up for us in terms of mobile apps in the IA marketplace, what it means, and what we should expect to hear from some of our vendor partners.
Perfect. Thank you, Jeff. Thanks for everybody that's attending today, and thank you to the technology partners. When we went through, we kind of stopped, paused this meeting or group, and went back to the agencies and said, all right, so let's start to prioritize some of the next categories or topics that we discuss. And overwhelmingly, mobile apps was rising to the top. And we realized that we hadn't had a discussion around that. And it's very timely in this pandemic era that we're living in. We've seen a lot of technology adoption and ways to interface with customers that are much more digitized in nature. And so we thought, what better way to introduce that conversation than to bring on applications specifically built for insurance agencies to discuss their technologies, the benefits and value that they provide, and then let our technology council ask as many questions as possible in order to also provide feedback to our technology partners as they continue to build out the solution. And as Jeff mentioned earlier, this is a group where we value the live demonstration. This is a place for us to have great dialogue, to be forgiving on both sides, develop some friendships and network, but also to make sure that you know what's available from a technology perspective. And so with that, we have 3 different groups with us. Andy Matheson is with Glovebox, Luis Pino is with Agentero, and then Kiki Johnson and Matt Aaron are with Insurance Agent App. And they'll each go through about 10 minutes of live demonstrations of their solutions on screen so everybody can see it. This will obviously be a conversation here, but shared with the larger OIA member group as well from a recording perspective. And then from that, we'll go into a Q&A session where we highly encourage the agencies, and we've never had a quiet moment really with this group, to ask questions and to develop more conversation around what's to come. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our first presenter, Andy Matheson from Glovebox. Andy?
Awesome.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today and to show you guys what we've done. Let me go ahead, and if it's okay, I can share my screen. And let me go ahead and do that here. Awesome. So you all should see a presentation. Are we good?
Yes.
Awesome. So just to give you a little rundown on my team, this is the 3 executives here, myself in the middle, my brother Ryan on the left, and my business partner Sean on the right, and of course our mascot, who's getting a lot of traction in the industry. But really between the 3 of us, we're the former agents and agency owners of a fairly large independent agency here in Denver, Colorado. We sold that agency actually last summer when we reached 100 million in premium. When I joined in 2011, we were a smaller $7 million book of business. At that point, my brother was about a year into the agency, and my business partner, Sean, had just gotten started as well. But between the 3 of us, we helped scale an agency between going from that $7 million mark to 100 million in premium. We know the independent channel like the back of our hand. We knew we needed to solve something major in this channel. So I'll talk to you about what that is. We've added a board advisor by the name of Scott McNeely. You may not know the name. He's the former CEO and co-founder of Sun Microsystems. He's been vital to our success, so something to keep an eye on. But really, everyone, this is what I want you to focus on. And those in the room that do not have a mobile app, it's the problem here being that less than 20% of your client base is actually going onto a carrier portal and signing up for an account. We consider this a problem because that means 80% or more of your client base is relying on you and your agency for absolutely everything under the sun. And so that being said, it's causing a lot of pain points for the agency. We know it firsthand from our old agency. There's two reasons why this is happening, everybody. One, because the insurance agent typically doesn't do a great job of promoting the portal of the carrier. We do not blame them for that whatsoever. When you think about it, they want to keep the client in front of their brand, in front of them, not in front of the carrier's brand. And so this doesn't make sense to push out those brands at the moment. The other piece of it is you have to have a policy number in order to register for an account with these companies. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't have that policy number in my back pocket. So clients get to that point of registration and they say, well, shoot, I don't know, where my policy is at the moment. I'm not going to fill out the rest of this form to get registration completed with the carrier. So that's the problem there. But really, we did a study and we looked at the three main distribution channels of insurance. And we said, hey, there's internet companies, there's captive companies, and then there's companies inside the independent channel. If we open up our app store on our phones and we look at each brand, let's see what the ratings look like. You have the internet companies like Esurance, Root, and Geico, major players in the internet world. Look at their ratings. They have hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands, if not millions of ratings. People love their mobile app. It's a good experience. And it makes sense because you buy directly from these companies, and you head over to the captive channel and you see the same thing. Allstate, State Farm, USAA, major companies, multi-billion-dollar companies that have awesome ratings on their mobile app store. Again, it makes sense. You buy directly from these companies and you use their platform. Inside the independent channel, however, it's kind of a mess. I mean, for lack of a better term, it's embarrassing because you look at these multi-billion-dollar companies and they have barely tens of ratings, barely hundreds of ratings. And so this is revealing, eye-opening, I should say, because really, people are not using these mobile apps or platforms very well. Again, it leads to these frustrations for policyholders. How am I going to get my policy documents in a digital form if I'm not using their platform? I'm really going to call my insurance agent and ask them to get that over to me. Well, the agent doesn't want to deal with it. Neither does the client want to have to call and take care of that. Paying a bill is a broken system inside the independent channel. An example here would be letting you know that, hey, carriers can only tell clients of a pending cancellation in the form of a snail mail, and people get those they get that mail and they think it's advertising and they rip it up and they don't even read the bill, and so that's a problem in and of itself. Submitting a claim, there's uncertainty. Communicating with your agent is just poor, and on the agency side, maintaining all that service demands, maintaining solid retention, dealing with decreased commissions by carrier, and taking care of your overhead. But what I want to focus on today is the expectation of a client, because if they're coming from a captive or an internet company over to your independent agency, they have an expectation. What you see here on the left is a very clean, solid, simple and easy to use mobile app from Liberty Mutual. And that's great. It's valuable and it's real documents. And on the right, you see management system, Accord forms. And really, this Accord form, if I'm looking at it from a perspective of a client, doesn't mean much to me. I don't know what I'm looking at if I'm John Smith, the client. And so when I'm seeing this as well, it was always meant to be an internal document. An Accord form was never supposed to be a consumer-facing document. So something to keep an eye on. We decided, when we sought out to start Glovebox, let's build something specific for the independent agency that looks good, it's clean, it's easy to use, and it connects directly with the carriers versus connecting to the management system. So I'll show you what we do. Inside of our app, you'll see that we've actually built out some really slick automation. We can actually distribute your app for you. So we actually we help build a report in your management system. We grab that list and we actually import it into our system, which allows us to distribute this app. We can do it in one of two ways, either in the form of a agency level, which is what you see on the left, or an individual producer level. So not only can you have your parent company app, but we can do specific producers within your agency and have that be distributed to their clients as well. So that's a pretty cool automation that we've built. We have two different types of carrier connections inside of our platform. We have API Direct, which you'll see with some of our carriers. We're looking to make sure all of them go that route here in the inevitable future. But for the other carriers, you're going to see an embedded service portal. So it still bridges from your agency app and allows them to do the functionality that they would do inside of their carrier app as well. The good news is we've made it very easy for either direction, meaning if you have a carrier with an API direct or an embedded service portal, we give you your policy numbers when you enter the app. We know that because your agency had provided it to us. And so now we can actually help you register for an account with your carrier. So let me do this. I'm going to actually fire up a quick video, and then I'm going to jump over to our demo. Give me 1 second here. Cool. So that's just kind of kickoff to being able to show you the demo here. So I'm actually going to go ahead and share my phone screen. All these different screens I'm popping up on Zoom. All right. In a second, you'll see my phone. Awesome. So what you see here is our web app. And we actually have two, well, really three platforms for our app. We have a web app, which could be accessed through your internet browser, which is good because now you can access on any device, a phone, an iPad, or a computer. This could live on your agency website as well. But then what you see here is our web app. So what I'm going to show you is when a client receives our distribution, right, we roll out to your client base, they get a text message and an email. When they open up the text message, for example, they're going to be landing on your agency's page here. So this says, welcome to Glovebox. It's all about your agency at this point. We congratulate them on being kind of a member of the agency, and then they can go ahead and sign up for an account. From here, they just simply enter their phone number and agree to the terms, and they can now start an account quickly and easily. We actually just sent the user a two-step authenticated PIN number, so they don't have to remember a username and a password. So now they've properly started an account and they just entered Glovebox for the very first time. Again, it's all about your agency at this point. They're already connected to your agency. And then we go ahead and prompt them on who they have policies with. We know that, hey, your agency told us that you, me, for example, I have policies with Travelers and Nationwide. So go ahead and connect with them. So if I click Travelers, I'm asked to do a couple of things. I can either connect my policies right away, I can go pay a bill or make a claim. But if I click Connect, I can go ahead and do a couple of things. This screen is saying, let's connect you to Travelers. You can either log into Travelers with the credentials you may already have, or at the bottom here, you may not already have an account with them. You need to register with them. And here are your policy numbers. You're gonna need those. So if I click copy, I can copy any one of these policy numbers. These are actually mine. If I click register, now I'm gonna go ahead and proceed to make an account inside of Travelers. One of the questions on here is, what is your policy number? We do give that to you, so now you can paste it in. You can see I'm going from tab to tab. That's solely because I'm on the web app. If I was on the native app, it wouldn't move. It would stay inside of the app interface. Now, once you create your credentials with that carrier, you can properly log in. Now, I only have to log in once with our API direct carriers. This makes a solid connection and stores all the documents on your homepage. As you can see, it just connected my 3 policies that I have with Travelers to my Glovebox. So now I can click done, and that prompt in the middle will go away, and then it's only going to display Nationwide. So there you go. And at the bottom, you see my Travelers policies I can click into, and again, I can pay a bill, make a claim. I can select my auto policy here, and here's all the documents associated with my policy. If I click ID card, I can open that up and see that's my actual ID card live from the carrier system. This is a big point right here. We're always showing live documents up to date. I can share this, I can print this, I can do anything I want with it. If I'm heading back, I can go over to my actual policy declarations page, live from the carrier. Again, I can print to share that with anybody, easy to understand. And then the drivers are listed below and the vehicles are listed as well. If I go ahead and click back to carrier, again, I can pay a bill and make that direct payment with the policy number it's asking right away. We do provide that, so they're all set. And then I can make a claim, same concept. Real quick, let me show you what it looks like to actually download the native app. So if I click on the account tab, you see that the third option down, I can just download this on my phone. We're seeing about an 85% account creation to download ratio. So once they start their account, they've actually gone and downloaded the app itself. So now you can see this is the native form of the mobile app, the one that actually lives on their phone. I just enter my phone number, I get a PIN number, there it is, it was just sent to me. Again, that's the process to log in every time. You'll see this account's already set up. It's gonna prompt me with the Nationwide in just a second, but if I click into my agency, now I can actually do a couple things with my agency specifically. I can request service in the middle, and if I click that, it's gonna open up a very sleek, what we call a service chatbot. So this is actually a automated, basically a service request form that's gonna allow them to fill out whatever request they need. And it's gonna proceed to ask them questions so they can handle their request and send it to the agency. This would compile the request and send it to the agency directly. And then of course you see I can request a quote. Why is this great? Well, because prospects and current clients can use this. If I download your app and I've never been with your agency, I can download it and request a quote. If I'm already with your agency, I'm a current client, I can do the same thing. So that's very easy to use. If I need to set an appointment, I can do so there. If I need to refer my agency out, I can go ahead and send it to whomever I want, all right, through a text message, email, social media. I can see the social medias are all there, the website. I can directly communicate through phone, email, and text message. So that's very easy to understand and easy to use. The last thing I'll point out is the carrier tab. We actually have connections to every single carrier in the United States, and we have the versatility to add them at will within 24 hours. So you'll see here that this list goes on and on and on. Again, those two types of connections being the API direct, which is about 16 of our carriers, and then the remaining ones are the embedded service portal. So still a very good experience for the user. We do at the bottom right have a chatbot as well, so that the clients, if they have support questions, this goes ahead and answers anything that they need. So it's very simple and easy to use. Awesome. Well, I'll go ahead and stop talking now and open it up for questions. Is that how you want to proceed, Jason, or do you want to wait till the end for that?
We'll go through each, and then we'll have more collective questions at the end. But thank you, Andy. And
yeah,
stop sharing here. We'll jump into Luis's presentation. Luis, welcome. Good to see you. You have the floor.
Good to see you, Jason. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining today. So super excited to show you a little bit of what we're building at Agentiro, and Andy laid it out perfectly, doing the sort of high-level overview of why an agency needs a mobile app, especially now that there's decreased time with your customers face-to-face. Being able to engage with them in other digital ways becomes more and more key. I'm going to go ahead and jump straight into the demo. I'll let you know a little bit about Agentiro. We've been around for about 3 years, and our objective is to be the agency's growth engine. So we're very focused on increasing your revenues. We have a mobile app that helps discover what the customer needs, what other policies they might have, what other things they might request. And we also have an analytics module that analyzes all the data that we pull in from the AMS, and that we, through our data science and advanced algorithms, generate what we call opportunities. If somebody has got a second home that you're not insuring, or if somebody is very prone to buying life insurance, we generate all those opportunities. And then once we give you that holistic view, we also help you close the business. So we partner up with carriers that are willing to take up those opportunities and make it super slick for you to close those opportunities. Let me go ahead and then share my screen. So we have two things. Oops, there's a bit of echo there. Okay, perfect. This is the agency dashboard. So this is what the agent will be looking at. We connect to your agency management system. So if you just click here, super easy to connect with QQ, with a bunch of other agency management systems that we integrate with. We're Vertafore partners. You can also upload a CSV file. Once this happens, we import all your contacts and policies here into these two tabs, so that you can always view all your customers. Then the next step that agents take before launching their mobile app is that they go to their agency profile, and here you can configure your mobile settings. So you can really brand this to whatever you want. You can change the color of the settings. You can also change the call to actions of on the main page, so you can have that to be call, text, review us. You can even have some custom buttons if you have like a service center. So it's a very, very customizable experience so that it's your app with your branding, with your colors. So once you've done all this quick setup that takes all in all 5 minutes, you're ready to start sending out invitations to your customers. You can put this on autopilot, and then the invitations just go out to your customers. Here, for example, you can also do it manually. You can select which customers you want to send out invitations to, and then here there's a sequence that will be going out. You can also view the templates, view all these communications, and edit them. The call to action in these communications that are going out to your customers are, you can download the app here, and then there's a unique link for each one of your customers. Once they click on that unique link, that sort of serves for us as verification that it's actually your customer. And then what will happen is that they will download the app, and all their policies will be directly there pre-populated. So let me show you how that looks. This is the mobile app. We're now viewing this from a policyholder perspective. They've gone through the sign-up flow, and their policy is already, boom, magic, they're here. Here, I have 2 policies, personal auto and a homeowner's. If I go into the personal auto, you can view all your details. You can also, of course, view your ID cards, which we auto-generate, what your limits are. You can view any other dogs that you might have. You can start filing a claim, make payments, and you also have here a directory of numbers from that carrier in case you should need to contact them. Here are the 2 buttons that we had as main call to action. So here we've got call and review us. You can hit those and then contact your agency. There's also information about your agency. There's an embedded referral program. So this starts to get a little bit more into that growth engine that we strive to be. You can set this referral program with the amounts or however you want so that your customers can refer their friends and family. We know that a lot of agencies rely heavily on referral programs. Word of mouth is a fantastic way to spread what your agency does, and we supercharge your powers to do that. We also focus on helping you get reviews on Google, on Facebook, on Yelp. We know that that's also very important to how your agency is presented out there to the world. So again, we supercharge you. We send notifications to your customers whenever there's something going on with their policies. Now, a little bit more onto the growth part. Something that's very cool here is that we try, as a whole, our platform gives you a holistic view of what your customer needs and what other types of insurance they might have. So our mobile app serves as a digital insurance wallet for the end insured. So for example, if I click here on add a policy, and I might have another policy that's not with your agency, I have a second car and I have that with Geico. So I can just type that in here. And I just have to take a picture of my auto policies declarations page. Let me see if I've got one here. Let's imagine that this is my actual deck page. I'm going to take a picture of that. Here you can see that I just took a picture of that on the mobile app. I hit finish. And I want to get my agent to shop for that. That policy, you can see that's been added here, personal auto Geico, which is in review. And something very cool is that that has now generated an opportunity here on your system. You've gotten a notification via email, and you can see that just now I created this personal auto opportunity for you. You can go ahead and see what that policy is about. So the picture that I just took of that policy lies right in here. You can see and be like, I think I can probably offer something better to this customer. And from that same opportunity, we've got emailing features that you can you can send out an email from here. If you've got here better coverage or whatever templates you might have preset, you can go ahead and communicate with the customer to help them move that policy over to your agency. So we help you with figuring out who your customers are, what their needs are. One key way is through the mobile app so that the customer directly enters that information. We also have AMS information that we enrich with third-party data. And here you can see, and that's probably maybe for another session once you do one on analytics, but we also generate a lot of opportunities based on the AMS and third-party data that we generate. Here, for example, somebody that's very prone to buying life within your insurance agency. But as I said, that's all part of giving you the holistic view of who your customers are, and so that you can round up accounts, you can keep on growing, improve your retention, because the biggest correlation with churn is the number of policies that a customer has with your agency. So giving you these opportunities for you to sell more policies to your customers, and also, of course, make sure that they're adequately insured. It's very important for the ups and downs in life that your customers have the right insurance. That's what we do. We help you be that trusted advisor and the customer have the adequate levels of insurance. We also partner up with carriers to help you actually close that business. That's it in a nutshell. I'll be happy to hear questions in a bit, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Luis. Appreciate the presentation. And we'll jump into the third and final act, Kiki and Matt.
Thank you, Jason. It's Matt Aaron. I will take care of the presentation part. Kiki is certainly ready and available to jump in, but we have found that tag teaming can be fun, so that's what we do. Okay, y'all can see my screen. Just want to check to be sure. Is that a Roger, Jason? Good, thank you. Well, we have taken a different approach than others who are in the space. And we got into mobile development after a long time in the entertainment industry. And in 2008, we started developing mobile apps. But a couple of years after that, I was jogging on this sidewalk here in Charlotte, North Carolina, where we are based, with my 10-year-old son at the time, when a minivan got sideways about a foot from us and was skidding perpendicular to the road about 40 miles an hour. So if that minivan had jumped the curb, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation today. It was a bing bang, and the minivan instead went up and took out this oak tree and caused a good-sized accident that we helped clean up. In the process of cleaning it up, I asked myself the question, if you were in that accident, what would you have to do? We'd have to call your agent. And that's when I realized I didn't have a clue who my agent was. I had the wrong name for the fellow. I had no idea what the name of his agency was. And I went and visited him and sat down with him and asked, why don't you have a meaningful presence for me on my smartphone? He said, I'd love to, but I don't have the time, the money, and the resources to build anything like this. So what we recognized early on, as I said, we were in mobile development very early, was that they didn't know it yet, but agents were going to need to get connected with their clients in a meaningful way. I did not know it was going to take a pandemic to wake them up, 8, 9 years later. But, we are where we are right now. We were definitely early on this. But our whole focus has been to make sure that we keep the agent at the center point of communication. But what's interesting is, although agencies license our product, we look at it like we've got two very distinct audiences, and we really do focus on the end user in a way that others may not, and usability and user experience. So when people ask, what is Insurance Agent App? We very simply say to them, there are two elements to our product. The first is a policyholder-facing mobile app that can be downloaded from the App Store and the Play Store. And the second component is the agency-facing web dashboard that administers the mobile application. And when they say, well, what does it do? Very simply, what it does is create engagement possibilities for the agency, because let's face it, there isn't an agency that we talk with that any of us on this session today don't say, we give great service. And the problem is that they're not being defined on their service anymore. They're being defined on the quality of their engagement. And less is that engagement really something that is, let's say, Amazon-like, or like Bank of America's experience, or the experiences that we're all used to, because we're all consumers and we all use mobile apps to help us be more productive. So that's what's in it for the agency. What's in it for the client is this: as we have all become more productive using these apps, we've self-serviced. It doesn't mean we won't walk into a bank. It doesn't mean that, you know, we won't engage with a service provider that we do business with. But if we can execute on our own, we want to be able to. I don't want to have to deal with you if I don't want to deal with you. So if I want to do something at 11:30 at night, let me do it. I know you're not open, and it's okay. So all of these elements that you see here are, you know, front and center in the mobile application. But at its core, we are keeping the agent at the center point of communication, not one of the insurance companies that they necessarily work with. Because as I've said to many agencies, as soon as you create a direct connection with an insurance company for a client, that is the quickest way to disconnect you from that relationship long-term. And if you're in the independent channel, you know which way the winds are blowing, right? They're trying to cut out, for the most part. They won't entirely, but where they can cut out a cost, they will. So our whole goal is to keep that agent front and center. So for a policyholder, this is what it looks like on their mobile device. And you see these screens keep changing. We can customize for an agency in terms of their color scheme and their branding. We really do promote it front and center. But we're on the agency tab of the mobile app right now. And everybody can either call, email, text, simply, you know, directions. Team members are in there. The share component is in there. I'll talk about that in a second. But all these top 5 service requests are front and center. People can access their policy information immediately. They can pay a bill directly by tapping the insurance companies. And the proof of insurance IDs are laid out in 2 areas within the app, and I'll show you that in a moment. Certain change requests, front and center. People just want to say what they need to do very quickly. And claims reporting. This is a big component for us on the service element that really, let's face it, we know that people do have claims, that they do want to know how to report them, and we've made it simple for them to do so. So all of these elements are front and center. And again, it's about the user perspective, not the agency's perspective. The referral component is very simple. It's the share button. We'll pull up any messaging app on someone's device and pre-fill that message with the agency's contact information. After many years, we found this is the simplest way for an agency to be referred. And if it happens to be an email, that professional, that CPA, that mortgage broker could easily CC them on that email for follow-up, and most do. But again, it's about simplicity. The companies that an agency works with would be loaded into the application. We maintain our own database of companies with all of their URLs and phone numbers for both bill pay and for claims. We're very proud of that because that database doesn't exist. We had to create that from scratch. And again, people know that they can do and execute through these fields, paying their bill. And if they need to contact the company for claims, they can do so. The policy tab. And well, let me just go back for a second. The social media icons that are down there, there are actually 8 buttons that are down there, and those can be customized for anything. It may be a Google review. It could be ePay policy. It could be simply easier payments. But we like to work within an agency's workflow, not create workflows for them that they then need to create another workflow to follow up with. So where we can incorporate an agency's workflows, we do. Policy information is found naturally on the policies tab. We will separate them out by both commercial and personal lines. And we drill down pretty deeply on policy info and go into the coverages, deductibles, and limits. With a vehicle policy, we'll associate the proof of insurance ID cards. But we also know that when people need to display their ID card, either for an officer of the law or at a rental car counter, they want to be able to do it quickly. So we've separated out ID cards so that very easily someone can display their proof of insurance, but they can also load in their health insurance ID card or maybe a registration card, maybe a driver's license. But it's very flexible for the end user as to what they want to store in there other than the cards that we load in for them right out of the management systems that we're connected with. The accident and claims component. This is a high value element within the application. We've been doing this for a while now, since 2013 when we rolled out Insurance Agent app for the first time. And we have claims reports in there for vehicle accidents, property claims, and workplace accidents. And we've streamlined those so that it's everything an adjuster would need to get the claims process going. And the sooner that claim is filed, the better the agency's loss ratio is going to look. And this is what these reports look like. We've shown this report to a lot of adjusters. They all kind of nod up and down and say, man, I wish people would use this because it would make my job a lot easier. The other type of report that can be shared inside the application is the inventory that we have created inside the application. It's really an app within the app. This is not some stripped down, take a picture and name it. There's a fair amount of engineering that went into this element within the application. We know that most people don't do an inventory, and if you ask them why, generally they'll say, it's kind of a nuisance, never really been easy to do, but what we found is the agency is never really part of that process. So imagine if an agency sent out a push notification through the app that said, Happy New Year. If you required anything over the holidays, now's a great time to make sure you're covered properly, give us a call. And also document the 5 most important items in your home. And it's real simple to do that. So it's about utility for the end user. And this is what that report looks like. It's broken out by category so that an agency can quickly identify areas that are opportunities for upsell and cross-sell of additional policy components. A setup with us is a 15-minute onboarding for an agency, and connection to management systems is even faster than that. And it couldn't be simpler. No file transferring, no CSVs. When we connect to a management system, we generate email invites to clients that invite the individual to install the application. There's a verification process as part of that. What you'll notice, that video field is circled. We help agencies promote the application in a very meaningful way with a customized video that is meant to explain to the policyholder why it would be a really good idea to install the app and have it on their device. And that's where we are now seeing how much they are installing the application. We've asked our longer term clients who have been with us since the beginning, of your clients who have installed the application, how many are still active clients with active policies? And the first that we asked to do that gave us a figure of 96% of clients who've installed the app are still active clients with active policies. That's a huge number. We didn't expect that. And when I asked the principal what he thought that number would be, he said, I thought it would be between 85 and 88%. And he was thrilled. And that principal was Chris Paradiso, Paradiso Insurance out of Stafford Springs, Connecticut. So we've always known that apps are sticky and there's a stickiness to them. So we're starting to get the evidence that that is the truth. Recapping it real quick, all apps are a benefit to an agency. And in our case, it's easy to use, easy to administer. It really does put an agency on a pedestal that it may not be on right now. And it is about retention and profitability. I didn't go through some slides I had that talk about profitability, but these apps pay for themselves pretty quickly through the distribution and through the reduction in service time that is needed to handle a phone call for a proof of insurance ID card. But as I wrap this up today, and I know I'm the last one, we're going to open this up for everybody. I would encourage everybody to tap with all of the vendors here, take a tour, drive their applications, and understand what is under the hood of these applications, how they do what they do, how they access data, how the requoting is done. These are all important questions for agencies to understand as they look at, okay, how do these things really work? Because, if there isn't a long-term strategy, there should be. Our goal is to be the app of record for the independent channel. We're in touch with all the carriers as well. The CTOs that we've talked with have all said, we're going to have our own apps, but we're going to have a dual channel strategy that supports the independent channel. So we will gladly work with you. And through microservices testing that we're doing with some of the larger insurance companies, the awards we won with the Accord InsurTech Innovation Challenge, those microservices I'm talking about, these are all leading towards not having to work through a management system to access data. So, you know what, when we got started doing this in 2013, we weren't integrated with anybody. And what we've said to agencies is, get started. Don't wait. The integrations will come. Get connected to your clients now before somebody else does. And that's our encouragement for the evangelists who are on this podcast, because all of you are evangelists. You're not the drive-bys. So, I commend you for being here and checking us all out. But, make sure that you do your due diligence. It's important to do. And on that note, I'll wrap it up and send it back to Jason. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Matt and Kiki. I want to first ask agencies, because you just saw 3 solutions. There are obviously similarities. There are definite differences. So I wanted to open it up first to agents themselves. Do you guys have any initial questions? We always give our prompt of 5 questions that are very consistent across each one of these. That's intentional. But I want to give you some time if you have specific questions, since we have a decent audience today.
Hey, it's Al. I've got 2 quick questions. One is, you guys kind of hit on the download aspect of this, and I can see how it'd be downloaded. But how do you measure the retention, or how many people keep it or use it? Is one. And with that in mind, because when a lot of this is for clearly personal lines, we can all download apps, but the stickiness or usefulness of it, how do you keep it front and center? Because at the end of the day, not many people are touching their insurance on a regular basis, and as a result, you can download the app, but I could foresee a lot of people just forgetting about it. So those are my 2 questions.
Thanks, Al. Vendor solutions partners, anyone want to take a stab at the answer there?
Yeah, from a glove box perspective, I mean, one thing that we've really found is that agencies really want their clients to use it on many platforms. That's why we built a web app first, so the ability to jump on their website, the agency's website, and utilize the app from their website. And then, their account's already created at that point, and it's very easy to start an account. So then to have it on your phone, you're going to see, at some point that's there and accessible very easily. To get them to jump in often, push notifications are huge, right? So being able to draft the push notification and sending it out to your client, whatever it may be, on an individual basis or a mass client list basis. So that's something that we're really excited about on our side in the next 45 days.
I jump in on along those lines is we focus on both commercial and personal lines. And on the commercial side, it looks a little bit different because it depends on what the focus is of the commercial. A lot of the agencies use it for that certificate request. Ease of use is that you've got this container where everything that they can do related to the insurance agency can be found in one place, whether it's paying on the commercial side, paying that agency bill, requesting a cert request, or if you have fleets and whatnot, making sure that they're all creating the same report for those accidents that the fleet may get into. So that's a benefit to your client as an agency and what they can do within them to manage accidents on their vehicles, and for you to be getting the same consistent information across the board. Also, what Andy's saying about the push notifications, we've got that. And by sending those, once a month is just enough to keep it front and center. Again, it's the upsell and cross-sell that you want to do. That's one of the reasons why we've added these other features because it's not just about policy data. It needs to be about all the things that your insurance is 24/7, 365. And that is, are you building something? You can send out, it's springtime. Are you sending out, building something? Do we know about the addition that you're adding? Do we know about, you've got weather coming to the area. So there are lots of different ways that you can keep it front and center without being overwhelming.
Similar for us. We've built in all these notifications that the agent can send out to their customers. So again, it can be happy holidays, or it can be that something's happened with their policy. Also, at time of renewal, we check if they might need some additional insurance, if they're adequately covered, and that all sort of flows through and makes sure that the customers are adequately insured and generates growth opportunities for you.
I think it's important too, just to build on Al's question, specifically around commercial, and you guys have done a good job of answering, but just to keep it in mind for the technology roadmap, because that's something I had down here as I'm watching the demonstrations. you usually see the use case being the personal line side, and there's a lot of reasons for that from a technology perspective too, because it's extremely transactional and a lot of it you can automate. But to Al's point, agencies more and more are being conditioned or conditioning themselves to migrate business into the commercial side, and that also skips the BOP piece, which is extremely simple too, as well as workers' comp, and moving more into the mid to large commercial and trying to figure out and put the agency's cap on how this can apply to our customers that are driving the majority of revenue that ultimately are going to be more and more the wave of our customer base moving forward. So just from the feedback from that initial question from Al, it hits on that topic of where the roadmap is taking everyone that's on this call, from personal lines going heavier and heavier into commercial lines, preparing your tools for the agencies that are migrating business or at least adding more business on the commercial line side. So just keeping that in mind, I always think it's a great feedback loop, and Al's hitting on it early. Other questions, Brent, Jonathan, Al, Kurt?
I have a quick question. Obviously, as we move forward with new technologies, compliance is a big, and data retention is a big issue. I noticed all of your platforms seem to have sort of a self-service forms capture. How do you maintain those records and transfer to the agency so that data doesn't get lost and the data retention requirements are met?
Great question.
I can quickly jump in. For us, being a data-driven company, data is super important. Our motto there is that the agent's data is the agent's data. Your customers are your customers. We have to safeguard that. We run on Google Cloud, so we benefit from a lot of that security out of the box that Google provides. And we've also got very strong security mechanisms in place. So we actually serve some of the largest agencies in the country that require you to do a big security questionnaire. We've managed to pass several times. So security, data, that's the oil of the 21st century. And we take it very, very seriously to ensure that your data is in good hands with us, that we can put that in front of the policyholder, and that we can also extract analytics from that. So definitely a lot of attention going into that area.
This is Matt with Insurance Agent App. I can tell you that, as Luis just pointed out, we've probably all undergone these security reviews from the insurance companies. And it was interesting to undergo them because a lot of them were not really sure how to evaluate companies like ours, because their tech is so old, they don't evaluate us the way they would evaluate themselves. And, when we first did this several years ago, we had to explain to them, we don't have any of that legacy tech, and as Luis is on Google Cloud, we're on Google Cloud. And, when you think about, where the potentials are for hacking, nothing's unhackable. I'll just say that up front. All of us are as secure as we can be. We've all undergone these security reviews. They're really important, and we do take them very seriously because you're dealing with a naturally risk-averse audience, what you guys do for a living, right? So it's the first place that we have to start, which is to make sure that our house is really in order, period.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And actually, these reviews that we're going through with all these companies are pretty standard. I mean, we've actually been praised by Liberty Mutual and Safeco that our technology is pretty advanced as far as the security goes. Our developers they build government apps, and we've now brought them in-house, so they're our in-house development team. But really, 256-bit encrypted, two-step authentication PIN numbers. There's a lot of layers to make sure that we.
You just went on mute there.
Sorry about that. Yeah, there's a lot of measures that make sure we're covering ourselves and that the agency's protected as well.
All right. Other questions or comments and feedback, critical or otherwise, for these guys?
This is Jonathan. I was just one thing that was real important to us, and we've used our mobile app primarily on the commercial side. So that's been our focus over the last 3 or 4 years, and trying to integrate the personal line side has been a bit of a more challenge, which is kind of the opposite of what I'm hearing today. But I'm intrigued by some of the third-party apps that really seem to have a better solution in that area than where we currently are. But one thing that was really important and is important to us is the branding. I mean, we've trademarked our app logo and all those things that are really important. It does see on each of the apps where your logo is very prevalent and the branding of the agency. But is this, are you downloading from the App Store, or are you downloading the Glovebox app and the Insurance Agent app and the Agent and Tarot app, or is it the RiskSource app? You know, is it the individual agency app? Just question from that standpoint.
Hey guys, if you don't mind, I want to take this one because I've been answering it longer than all of you. It's a great question. It's a fair question. We respect how hard agencies work on their branding. It's all they have, right? It's how you put yourselves out there. The problem is that, you know, and that's how we got into this. I couldn't remember the name of my agent. And commercial may be a little different. You may know the business relationship might be a little bit tighter. But as we looked at this and we looked at the end user in their mobile moment, generally speaking, when they need to reach out to their agent, something has transpired and they don't want to be messing around with who's my agent. I know a CSR, I know a producer, I can't remember the name of the agency. The average number of apps on someone's smartphone these days is 120. And we know an insurance app is not going to be used every day like Facebook, Pinterest, or Instagram. So you really want to make it easy to spot. That's why we chose Insurance Agent. It's easy to locate. And I will tell you, I've got a running bet, Jonathan, with every principal that signs up with us. If there is a son or daughter, a teen driver, if you will, maybe a fleet driver in the case of commercial, who has any clue what the name of your business is, right? There's a lot of money on the table, because if they're the son or daughter of a policyholder, teen driver, they have no clue the name of the agency, but they're going to have to document that accident. And statistically, they're going to be the ones in it. So when you look at the people who are signed up with us, they are major players in the independent channel, and their branding is huge, right? They all understand. Several have come up to me at conferences and said, I get it, I get it. And I'll say, what do you mean? I get why it's I for insurance. I had an accident, I was frazzled, and I now know what you mean. So I'm sorry for the long answer. Hopefully it satisfies for Agent Arrow and for Glovebox, but it's all about the end user. It's not about your agency in someone's mobile moment.
Well, thanks for that, Matt. We've taken a slightly different approach. We acknowledge that is the case for a lot of agencies, but we've also acknowledged that some of you have built very, very strong brands, and we've actually got an option for you to have your own app in the App Store, write your own description, so that they don't download the Agent Hero app, they download your agency app. So we have sort of a dual system. We acknowledge that there are agencies that will fully agree with what Matt has said. We believe that many times you don't know who your insurance agent is, but also there are agencies that are very, very, they've invested a lot into their branding, and they really want their own branded app. So that was one of the main feedbacks that we got, and we've gone ahead and implemented fully branded apps that you can have your own. And one advantage of that is that agencies that have their own branded app can also use it a lot for prospecting. So if they have a prospect, they can go and say, hey, go to the App Store and download my app. So we're all about customization, being flexible. We understand that each agency has their own needs, and we allow for that option.
I'll be brief and a quick response here, but our perspective on that is really in the name itself. First thing you think of when you get pulled over in a car accident, you rush to your glove box, you grab your documents. We feel that, you know, in the form of an app itself, if that's going to be glaring when you're in the car accident, just like the I logo on an app as well, that's the first thing you think of as insurance. But for our glove box purposes, it's the same concept, right? Your first thing to do is rush over to your glove box. So that's where our perspective comes into play.
We have about 2 minutes remaining, and I appreciate always when agents ask questions, and it lets me off the hook a bit. Are there any closing questions or remarks from our agency group?
Yeah, I've got a question. One thing that for us that we are currently working on, and I think every independent agent can agree with me on this, is all these different technologies, they all don't loop back to one place. We're trying to work on a solution to where, you know, we have a piece of technology that communicates with all the other investments that we've made. I know some of you guys on the call are not integrating directly with agency management systems. You're going direct to the carrier. However, it's tough for me to track the behaviors and the relationships of our customer from a digital perspective if I don't have those activities of the customer within my own data set within my AMS. So are you guys working on any type of solutions for that to help agents better their relationship from a digital perspective with their customers by integrating with an AMS or other technologies?
Yeah, it sounds like that's something I can jump in on. One thing we're really working hard on is the experience with your agency is first, right? When I'm a client, I want to experience everything with my agency first. That's why we made sure front and center is the logo of the agency. It's all about them. From there, you can bridge over to your carrier, right? And have that experience with your carrier, but it's really just to get real documents, do your pay a bill, start a claim, the ancillary things that you can do in any mobile app of a carrier. And then from there, that whatever data we're collecting as far as the activity on the app itself, we want to push that into the management system. We don't want to pull information from the management system and rely on that for what we're displaying in our app, because we feel it could be unreliable. It could cause too much work and upkeep from an agency perspective, but really all the work is being done with the carrier and then being pushed back into the agency management system. So our plans are to push that information, not necessarily pull it, if that makes sense.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah. One issue right now is that a lot of the agency management systems are still updating their systems, and they don't have the capability to ingest information from the outside. So it's easy for us that are farther along on them on the tech side to be able to say, well, can we push stuff to you and then you can mark it as an activity? A lot of them just don't have that capability yet. And it's one of the reasons that we've built everything when something is created, an accident report or a cert request, it's all put into a PDF that you can download and attach to the system, because you do have to have a single source of truth and record. And we're trying to help you make sure you get it all in one place. And with the objective is that you can track everything in one place as opposed to always having to go to multiple locations to see anything.
Luis?
Similar for us, we sync with agency management systems. We've partnered with quite a few of them. So we acknowledge that that's sort of the source of truth. And then as you've seen, we've also got our agency login that you can log into our platform. And that sort of is what gives you the holistic view of your customers. When you can work these opportunities, you can service your customers. It's sort of a customer-centric hub for you to manage all your insureds. And we also have a lot of notifications that go out to your email. So you can customize that also on the platform, how often you want to get notified of when something's happening on either on the mobile app or elsewhere. So we also leverage simple things like emailing you of things that are happening so that you can stay aware of what's going on and all the great stuff that we're doing behind the scenes for your agency.
All right. I, again, appreciate everyone's attendance today. Thank you for the participation of our solutions partners. I will make sure, Jeff, is there any closing remarks?
No, I don't have any. Sorry, I was just coughing again. But no, this is great. Thank you guys for your time and participation. Really great demos and information.
All right. With that, everyone have a great rest of your week and look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Go to our websites to request some demos if you liked it. Thank you. Take care.
All right. Take care.
Bye.